I'm surprised by the timing, but when you look back at all the evidence that led up to this, it was kind of staring us in the face, I think, with the announcement of $3+ billion in content cost cuts that Disney Plus was going to undergo, or that Disney in general was going to undergo, but mostly affecting Disney Plus. That means all of these additional Marvel properties they've been producing for Disney Plus, all these crappy series that they've been throwing on there. The whole reason that Victoria Alonso's job, and I think, Tom, you guys were talking about this earlier, her job is basically just a big fugazi. There's no reason for her job to exist effectively, except for the fact that Marvel expanded its footprint from making 2 or 3 big headline movies a year to making 2 or 3 movies plus 3 or 4 or 5 Disney Plus shows, just cannon fodder for Disney Plus. So she was brought in. Now that's all being cut back. And she has, frankly, I'm telling you, she got fired for mismanagement. This woman was put in charge of physical production back in 2021, I think. She was formerly post-production in VFX. And how many Marvel movies has Midnight's Edge reported on that have gone back into reshoots, like massive reshoots, not penny ante pickup shoots and stuff like this? Oh, we missed the lighting on this, or we need to do... No, this was
a lot.
Major reshoots, big production budget overruns, the same kind of stuff we've talked about for years now with Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy. Script is here. He knows this stuff.
Oh, I know better, because I'm going to have to correct you a few times there, Valiant, because it's more deeper than this.
Go.
So Victoria was, and I'm writing this on my Patreon right now, so for anyone who wants to get more details on it, you can subscribe there. It'll be posted within the next hour or so.
Yeah, welcome Script Doctor to the
Hello.
show.
Sorry for the introduction.
2 new names that I hadn't.
Yeah, Kara,
Hello.
Script Doctor Kara.
Nice to meet you. So, all right. So the first thing you have to realize is that this position was never needed in Marvel Studios up until the point where it exists. And it came about after Black Widow, which was in 2021, which is the first kind of fluctuating Marvel film. And then she was promoted after Shang-Chi did not perform as well expected to this brand new position where it's post-production and visual effects. And it's not development. And Kamer Pasha mentioned this way back when this first came out, that it's a good reason that she's not in development, because her responsibilities are just to execute what is in development. However, in production, you can order rewrites and reshoots and change things, and that can inflate your budget. And that appears to be what Victoria Alonso did. But at the same time, after those 2 failures with Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and then eventually Eternals severely underperforming at the box office, I suspected that some of the powers that be at Marvel decided, hey, we need that in case of emergency break glass situation. And what they did is they invented this position. They gave it to Victoria Alonso, who has already, she's doing the exact same thing she did before. They just gave her a new title. And here's the other part too. When she did move there, they didn't announce who came in to fill her role afterwards. It was basically like another group of interns and things that she was just getting them acclimated to it. And this is what I'm trying to get at, is that I think she was put in this position with the intention of getting her ejected in case that Marvel Studios failed. And I brought something up like this on Mead, because I think we covered this on Mead the day it was announced initially, but we didn't do it on Midnight's Edge in the morning because we were more excited about Dune, and justifiably so, because it was coming out in like 6 months.
Dune was awesome.
But I said, like, it's very unheard of for a studio to invent a studio with this much legacy, this much success, to invent a brand new position for a job that's already being taken care of and done effectively well up until that point. It doesn't make sense. It's either a promotion to do a soft exit or a promotion to eventually just terminate. And I didn't know which one it was exactly going to be, but it looks like it was the soft exit. And it's basically saying, like, Kevin Feige was looking at these underperforming movies and like, we screwed up and we can't change at this point. How can we, point fingers to someone who might be causing some problems, such as we can't say X-Men around the office or whatever even if Feige didn't want Perlmutter in there and she ended up being used to his advantage, he's probably regretting, I needed that guy in the room or something at that point, and there's nothing he could do. So I'm pretty sure that she was put in this position basically to be like, if crap hits the fan, we can point to her and nobody's going to question it. And the other part too is that once she did take over, and this is of her own hubris, Valiant is now very correct because the budget started to inflate dramatically afterwards. Shang-Chi, Black Widow, and Eternals, relatively modest budgets. Like Shang-Chi, I think was like 170.
150. Well, they credited
150.
150. That was an interesting one because they coalesced it with Thor: Love and Thunder because they shot them back to back in Australia
with
to
the volume,
maximize the film tax credits. So that's why I said a while back, I said, I don't know if Shang-Chi actually had a budget of 150 and Thor had a budget of 250, but I think that's where they credited it to take gains and losses based on what they thought would perform better because Shang-Chi came out right as we were coming out of the coup restrictions, and Thor was going to be released the next summer. Yeah,
exactly.
Well,
yeah.
But then you take a look at the budget increase for each one, and especially with the fact that she's head of visual effects and post-productions. So all the rumors of the rewrites, the reshoots, the changing of things, and the panic at the VFX studios, sounds like a person who's got bipolar disorders or organizing this stuff, doesn't it? And who's someone that publicly has displayed symptoms of that. I'm not diagnosing. I'm just saying there's some crossover there.
You're not wrong.
I can
Alonso.
see.
And I think I think it's like the bittersweet thing. They were probably knowing that they're going to have to get rid of her eventually, or that she'd exit eventually. I don't think they expected it to be this soon, and I don't think they expected what happened with Ant-Man to have facilitated it so quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if this would have been like, oh yeah, once we actually get rid of the Kang Dynasty and Avengers, that's when she's going to do her exit stuff because we've already got her. She's already overseeing all of that anyways.
So just to like kind of round up, do you guys think that Feige fired her then? Like you think that
that would have come from above him?
No, that would have been
above him. So the board.
Yes, it would have been the board at Disney that would have done it.
Okay.
Feige, I would say, pulled a Machiavellian thing where he's like, I need to put her in a position where when they do ask me, I can point to her and they'll be like, yep, that makes sense. Get her out.
Oh, I didn't mean Feige. I actually meant Iger.
Oh, Iger. Oh, yeah.
Iger,
oh, yeah.
Iger.
A
You think Iger fired her?
A contract like Victoria Alonso's, the scale that it is, we're talking about somebody who is, multi-year tenured at Disney. She's been there now, well, since Disney acquired Marvel, basically, and then before that. I mean, you're talking about somebody who is 7 figures in that range, plus probably stock options and everything else. I mean, the board has to come down to approve a mid-contract termination at this level. This is not firing, the HR part-time staffer down the hall. I mean, we're talking about
She's
major
a founding
executive
member. She's a founding member of Marvel, brought in by Luis D'Esposito.
Yep.
And so again, because she's gone, doesn't mean that all of Marvel's problems are going to go with her. There might be a shift.
No.
But again, she was enabled by everyone else there to do what she did.
Yes.
Script, hold that thought because that's a really good thought. But I wanted to get Michelle to announce her leave because she's going to be leaving us. She has to go.
Do you have anything you want to plug, Michelle?
Yes. We will have our John Wick 4 review coming out on Friday. We're excited to go see that Thursday. So definitely be on the lookout for that Friday around lunchtime.
Nice.
I was supposed to see that Thursday.
I'm gonna hit you up for a stream on Sunday then, Michelle.
Okay.
All
right. You just let
I
me
look
know.
forward to that. I enjoyed your Shazam review. That was actually quite bonkers.
I gotta watch that.
The movie was bonkers.
I love her Scream review. Her Scream review was awesome. Like the Scream 5. I didn't watch Scream 6 one.
Oh yeah, you did the reaction. Those are fun.
Yeah, that was great.
Anyways, you ladies and gentlemen, have an awesome rest of your night, and I'll see you next Monday.
See you next Monday.
Bye, Michelle. Michelle, I got to call you about the computer. We'll talk tomorrow.
It's awesome.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right.
And then I'm going to go in the back room so we don't have more men on this.
Get out.
I was gonna say I didn't want to overstay my welcome.
No, it's fine. Valiant, you're fine.
And I can jump too because
that's fine if you guys got to go.
Toxic
but
masculinity to tell you the
I wanted you guys to finish out your thoughts because you guys were making some really good points, and so I asked if you guys think that she got fired by Iger, and you said definitely. So now my next question is, do you think she's going to be replaced, or are they just not going to refill that position and just kind of go forward?
The position was made for her. I would be shocked if someone else takes it again, or if they don't just do something in the trades where those responsibilities are being separated across these other 4 producers that have been there since the start at Marvel, which is basically what they've been doing up until that position existed anyways, which would actually confirm that the position was made to get rid of her at some point in the near future. It was premeditated for sure.
Okay.
I didn't consider that point. That's fascinating, but I think you're absolutely right. No, I like it.
Well, you can like it, but it's just from my experience. It's like, why would it would be like Disney, like Bob Iger's in, and then all of a sudden they create a new position, which they actually did for Bob Iger when he exited, where he was still head of the on the board and head in there. Like, you don't need to do that unless you have other plans where either you soft exit out, you get terminated, or in Iger's position, he was just a placeholder so that he could come back whenever they got really upset.
5-year contract after he retired as CEO. 5
yes,
years.
He still has 3 years left on that once he retires again.
4 years and 1 month.
4 years and 1 month, right? Yep. So even on top of that, I wouldn't be surprised if Victoria was thinking, "Oh, this is my position where if Kevin either retires or goes somewhere else, I would take over." And me having worked in this industry for 16 years, I'm thinking, no, I've seen this before in smaller studios. This is to get rid of somebody. You promote them, out of their skill set so that they can fail a little bit when you already know that there's problems occurring at the company. And then
so they wanted a scapegoat. So she's their scapegoat.
Oh, that's big time.
Yeah. And the thing is that the problems aren't going to go away as fast as you think they are.
No,
unless, and here's the other part too.
How can they script doctor when you still got writers in the writer room, going about just writing shows and stuff like that based on the message versus what the actual characters want. Now, I don't know how that could improve, but you were going to say something.
Because again, Victoria wasn't responsible for that. That's development side of things. That's Paul Feige. Right. That's Luis D'Esposito. That's Mitchell Bell. That's Stephen Broussard. That's David J. Grant. If they're bringing these Rick and Morty guys in, as well as some others that you've never heard of before, that's development side. And Victoria just had to make sure she got it done properly, but she screwed up on that side too. And they're putting the blame on her, and she's definitely got some responsibility, but the rest of those players are still there, and they're probably going to do the same thing and be like, well, because she's gone, we can do it better now. I don't believe that's going to be the case. I think that there might be maybe there'll be a reduce expenses on the visual effects budget because they won't have the bipolarism aspect on it there, which will probably seem like a big win. But at the same time, it starts with the script. As I say, like, if you don't get the script right,
it starts with a script. That's what I'm saying too. Like, if you don't have a good script and you have like basically just the message and you have just crap and shit written on paper, it's still going to be the same thing. Like, what are we talking about?
And I've been hearing from a number of different players in the industry that Ant-Man, the Wasp: Quantumania was a sacrificial lamb in all the ways that nobody intended it to be. I don't know anyone personally involved in the production. Unfortunately, I wish I did because I really liked Peyton Reed.
I do too.
But the thing is, look at the traits. Has Peyton said anything about Ant-Man, the Wasp: Quantumania ever since it's debuted? We got the writer. We got some producers. That's telling. That tells me that this director was probably gutted from his responsibilities for somebody else to remake the movie that he was trying to do. And because he's not saying anything about it, he's just trying to, keep his head down. And I respect him for that. And, just move on to the next project that he's got. And yeah, like that's just really telling. This is a very poorly performing film. This is, it came with some
it's so
consequences bad. for Vicky Alonso.
I was joking around saying that she's gonna go to DC now. Like James Gunn's gonna hire her, and she's gonna go ruin shit over at DC.
I don't think so.
No room for you at this
Apple Amazon.
Apple, we don't want your kind here.
Nope. Sony won't touch her. I know that because they know exactly what they'd get with her.
Well, some people in the chat were saying Amazon would probably take her. I mean, I could see her going to Rings of Power somehow.
Well, Jennifer Salke's still got some control over there, and her and Victoria Alonso kind of have the same perspective of things. So who knows?
Wow, really fascinating stuff. And you guys, if you like Script Doctor's takes, you definitely want to sign up to his Patreon because he's a smarty pants.
Not really.
Aren't you?
I'm gonna go check out your Patreon. Honestly, I feel terrible. I didn't even know you had one, so I gotta go look.
How dare you?
No, that's okay. That's quite all right.
I'm gonna go sign up tonight, folks. You should do the same.